Family, hello. We are back. Welcome. You dig? Like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's all you got to do to support the channel. Look, we are reviewing and doing some refreshers on the NaZiyah Harris preliminary, okay? We have the trial that's coming up February 23rd. You dig what I mean? So what we're doing is we're going over testimony, and we are comparing it to the things that we know now. And I'm going to be real. There is a lot of information that I think that we're finding out where some things wasn't adding up, some things was. We're just looking at it. I want everybody to be prepared because when this trial comes up, there is going to be a lot of things that we're going to probably learn that we did not know right now. And hopefully a lot of people get their ass locked up. And then we can officially celebrate this baby and hopefully she can be memorialized properly. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been 2 years now, and we just need her to come home. It don't matter what form. We just need to bring Shawty home. This is ridiculous. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get into the cell phone data. All right? To check out the movements between Jarvis, the mask, butts. Let's get it.
At this time, Judge, people call Sergeant Melanie O'Rourke.
Truth and nothing but walk this way. Just make sure you watch your step when the witness calls. And also, you can pull that microphone off the ledge if it's easier for you, or just lean into it.
May I proceed, Judge?
Yes.
Could you state your name for the record?
Sergeant Melanie O'Rourke.
What do you do for a living, Sergeant?
A sergeant with the police department.
Which police department?
Detroit Police Department.
How long have you been with the Detroit Police Department?
Approximately 11 years.
And are you currently assigned to a specific precinct or unit within the Detroit Police Department?
Yes, I work at major crimes.
Okay, and what sort of crimes do you investigate at major crimes?
Generally, homicides.
And how long have you had that role, or have you been in major crimes?
I believe since 2016.
And do you do any specific role within major crimes that requires a little bit of training and education to do?
Yes.
And what is that?
I do forensic analysis of cellular call detail records and tower mapping.
Okay. And what sort of training, very generally right now, what is that?
What types of training?
No, sorry, new question. Generally, what is called forensic analysis of CDR and tower mapping?
I don't understand your question.
Okay. Have you had any training to do that?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
I've had T-Mobile training. T-Mobile is the prevalent company here in the Metro Detroit area. I've had Excel training. Excel is the format that most of our call detail records come back to us in. I've had self and use of drug trafficking training, Penlink training. Penlink is the program that the Detroit Police Department utilizes. It basically puts the records in a readable format. I've had CATS training, which is an acronym.
You bet who breath stink. Nigga, don't make me block you. My dog breath don't stink. You feel me? This nigga here is bougie. The fuck? What are you talking about?
For call analysis training school. I've had Penlink training, PLX training, which is an upgraded form of Penlink. Approximately around 450 hours of specialized
Oh, you
training.
talking about Jarvis?
Okay, and that
I got
450
emotional.
hours in that training, does that allow you to utilize that to generate what you said earlier, tower maps based on your analysis of call detail records?
Yes.
Okay, and what are call detail records?
Historical records.
And does that allow you to place certain things based on cell towers on maps to give an approximate location of a particular phone number that's
Yes.
associated with the phone?
Yes.
And have you testified as an expert before in this field?
Yes.
And how many times have you done that?
Over 35 times.
And has that been in Wayne County?
Yes.
And have you testified in 36 districts before?
36 and 3rd, both, yes.
Judge, at this time, I would move to qualify Sergeant O'Rourke as an expert in the field of forensic analysis of call detail records and tower mapping.
Objection, no.
Now, can you describe for the record, when you get call detail records, the process that you would go through to generate maps?
Yes. The OIC, or the officer in charge, would supply a search warrant for a particular target number. We would submit that to the respective cellular company, whether it's T-Mobile, AT&T, or Verizon. They will submit back to us in the form of raw records, usually in Excel format, the call detail records, and other response subscribers, things like that.
And in terms of the call detail records, what is contained in that spreadsheet? What sort of information is contained within that spreadsheet?
It'll be dates, times, locations, the target number in question, any contact ID, who they're having any type of activity with, whether it's a text message, a voice call, the duration. There's multiple things associated with the call.
And you talked about location. How are those locations generated and inputted into that spreadsheet?
So these records will supply an actual either latitude and longitude or a location area code or other location information for the cell tower that the, we're just going to say cell phone in this case, cell phone interacts with.
Okay. And can you describe well, first, silly question, I know, but what is a cell tower? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'm gonna speed up past this. We don't need to know what the fuck a cell tower is. We want to get to the root and the patuta of the things. All these credentials and shit.
Just hand it to him.
Yes.
And are those maps that you generated for that target number ending in 8719?
Yes.
At this time, I would move to admit People's Proposed 33 through 39, Judge.
Any objection? No.
No objection.
They'll be admitted. People's Exhibits 33 through 39.
Thank you, Judge. And permission to publish.
Yes.
And on the screen and in your hand is Exhibit 33. First, I want to talk about what's at the top, very top of this, and what information goes there.
The first row is going to have what's going to be on our calls report, a condensed version. There's going to
Now look, you gotta sit down. Jarvis ain't shit. That's where we at. This nigga, we've trying to find out where he is. I know you just coming up in here, but we're trying to figure out where his cell phone is. All right? Now, that's where we at.
be a lot more in the actual cost report, but this is the information that exhibits what's in the map down below. So for row 1, which we only have one row in this instance, we're going to have the target device, which is the phone number, and the date, time that was requested. So in this case, it's going to be January 9th of 2024, and the time, which is in
This nigga ain't shit.
UTC time or military time. It's going to be 16:09 or 4:09 p.m. And then the duration, how long the activity.
You know the nigga here.
Come on.
Don't be mean like that.
Come on.
Don't be starting to get mad. You gotta go with her. You can't be in here with
Keep
me
it
every
sitting
time.
in this bright light.
Go ahead.
Y'all see what we gotta deal with? Yo.
That's why I had to go get him, y'all, because he was in there going crazy as hell on them. He's my child. He's my Velcro baby. He want to be with me. Now, he want to be with me now. The nigga be mad, and then he say,
Lasted. You have a start back and said that's actually your location information. And then the call type, in this case, it was a voice call. Call status, whether it was completed or not completed. The direction. Incoming or outgoing. Did he make the phone call or did somebody call him? And then you have the contact ID, which is who the device was contacting or interacting with.
Okay, and that would have been the phone number that in this case that we're looking at, an outgoing call was placed to?
Yes.
All right, so let's back up to the date, January 9th, 2024 that's what it says on Exhibit 33, correct?
Yes.
Okay. How do you know to do that date in particular for this case?
So for all of these maps, this was requested by the officer in charge.
That information is supplied to you?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the details of other parts of this investigation, or are you just taking the information the OIC gives you?
I know.
yo, the cameraman was petty as hell. He zoomed in on the numbers so niggas can call Jarvis' phone on purpose. He the real MVP of this shit.
The general information, but this is, they asked for a specific date and time, and this is what we placed on the map.
Okay. And then moving over to the next row for time, it says 16:09 and 24 seconds, correct?
D dumbass, leave me alone.
That's, yes.
So that's my next question. You said that that's in UTC time. Can you describe or tell us what UTC time is?
No, this time that you have here is in our time, Eastern Standard Time. UTC time is Universal Time Coordinated, and that's like on the world clock. So you're going to have a -4 or a -5. The raw records come back to us in Universal Time Coordinated, and then we turn around and put it in our time so that you can read it and know that what time it happened here.
Okay. And so, just to be clear, the 16:09 or 4:09 p.m. is what time
Eastern
it was
Standard
in
Time.
Detroit,
Yes.
where this phone was at 4:09 on January 9th.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a conversion that you have to do based on whether it's -4 or -5.
Yes.
What does that depend on, -4 or -5?
It's the UTC time, Universal Time Coordinated. So it's on.
So as you can see, at least at 4:09, you know what I'm saying, it looks to me that Jarvis was on Connor Street, so he had to shop at 4:09. You feel me? We know that for sure. I'm about to look, it's bothering the fuck out of me when the baby mama. I'm trying to figure out when he would have had time to plant the clothes. So I want to see when his phone pinged near 7 Mile. That's what we're looking for.
On the world clock, so our Eastern Standard Time will change. Fall back or spring forward based on the summer and the winter. And so during the summertime, it's going to be -4 from UTC time, and then during the wintertime, it's going to be -5. So we just put it in so that the time that you have here is Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. And then the two rows over, one next to duration, start, lack/CID. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that information means and why it's important?
So that's going to be your location information. Your LAC is location area code, and then the SID or CID is your cell ID.
Okay. And that is what allows you to generate, or part of what allows you to generate the map that we see below?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about the map that we see below. First, you have those two lines going out in almost a incomplete triangle. Can you tell us what we're looking at there and what's in the middle?
Yes. So the middle part, you're actually looking at a V, and it's going to be about a mile long. Here in the Metro Detroit area, the cell coverage that you're looking at for any particular tower is usually about a mile. So that V is a representation of the intended area coverage of the cell phone company.
Okay. And then there's a little pie chart in the middle in a little shade. Can you tell us what that means?
Yes, that is the intended area coverage.
Okay, so that's the mile that you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay. And then you have a blue dot located to just above the top line there. Can you tell us what that is indicating?
That blue dot indicates 9,000 Connor, and that was requested to be placed on the map at this particular date and time.
Okay. And so what essentially is your conclusion about this map that we're looking at here? What does all of this mean?
In this particular date and time, so January 9th at around 4:09 p.m., the target device that we're looking at ending in 8719 is consistent with being in the area of the 9,000 Connor.
And how precise is this location? I mean, you say in the area, there's no specific spot that you can say this was at this address. How precise can you get with this?
So we can only tell you what the address and location of the cell tower and their intended coverage. They actually give you that. So you're working with radio frequency. So it's not going to be an exact V that you see here. You're going to be working with radio waves. So it can be a little bit outside of the V or a little bit inside of the V, but basically this is just to demonstrate, you know, the intended area coverage of the cell phone company.
Okay.
Going now to Exhibit 34, which is on the screen. First, is this the same information that we saw in Exhibit 33 across the top of the map in Exhibit 34?
Yes.
Okay. And you have 4 rows here instead of 1. Why do you have 4 rows instead of 1 in this map?
In this instance, the officer in charge requested to see a travel duration. So during the time between, I have 1838 and 1922, there are actually others in between which you can actually see in the raw records. But to put that many records that happened in between is a lot. So basically we are showing the travel from, the blue dot indicates 9,000 Connor, and then the black dot indicates Ypsilanti.
So we know this. Now let's look at the record. So from 638, which would kind of line up a little bit more with Tawana's account, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, it looks to me that between 638 and 722, you know what I mean, is when they was out in Ypsilanti, which makes sense. You know what I mean? If they was there for an hour, that would put them there to being around 8 o'clock. They would have to travel back to Detroit, which takes around 40 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? They would have been back at the shop around 8:40, which would have been lining up with what Cordell said. You feel what I'm saying? Now, he didn't leave right at 8:40 because he had to go in the shop. They had to divvy up the money for the day. They had to do the receipts and separate the receipts. So now that's putting them, you know what I'm saying, close around 8:45, 8:50 for him to get home for tether. Now, to me, that aligns with Tawana's account on when, you know what I mean, or whatever, they left the shop.
And they wanted to depict the travel from 9,000 Connor down to Ypsilanti during this time period.
And the first time period that you have for row number 1 is 1838 and 16 seconds?
Yes.
So that would be 6:38 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a corresponding number on the map that relates to each row?
Yes, on row, you can actually see the row column. So number 1 is going to coincide with number 1, which is just leaving the 9,000 Connor area. And then you see on row number 2, it's depicted on the map as number 2. And it's traveling down 94 west. And then number 3 coincides with line number 3, and then 4 and so on.
Okay. And so your conclusion, correct me if I'm wrong, would be that for number 4, at around 19:22 and 33 seconds, that phone was in the area of Ypsilanti.
Just west of it.
Just west of it.
I believe there's a little town area, yes.
Okay. And 1923, that would be 7:22 p.m.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Going to Exhibit 35. And on Exhibit 35, which is on the screen now, you have, again...
That's probably Shannon calling, he ain't answering. That's probably Shannon calling, he ain't answering this shit.
4 rows, but there's different coloring for that information. Can you describe what we're looking at and what the coloring means?
Yes, so the blue dot indicates 9,000 Connor, again, and
King said that they were there 15 minutes. I don't believe that account. The auntie said that they was there from like 30 minutes to an hour. I believe that account. You got to understand, when they got in the house, right? You know what I'm saying? And they was talking and blah, blah, blah. The first thing that King said is that somebody had to leave to go get the rest of the money from the ATM. So give or take, it's going to probably take 15 minutes to at least go to the ATM. So we know that he was there longer than 15 minutes. You feel what I mean? They had to go and get some shit going on. They was able to sit and talk and blah, blah, blah. He was trying to wait around for his son to get there. You know what I'm saying? So he can see him, but then they start cutting and crows. So I don't think his account of being of 15 minutes was accurate. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember him ever saying it was 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But I do feel like it would have been a little bit longer than that. At least based on what he said they had to do.
The purple dot indicates 13362 Wilshire. And those are the two locations that the officer in charge requested. And the purple dot indicates 13362
Hold on, y'all. 13362 Wilshire. What'd she say? 13362 Wilshire. Hell yeah, I'm nosy in the fuck. I wanna know. Wilshire Drive, Detroit, Michigan. Okay. Okay, so this crazy because this nigga, everywhere he be is in the same vicinity of everything. Alright, so 13362. Y'all know I'm nosy as hell. I be need to know. Okay, so this is where it was at. 13362 Wilshire. Stinking ass man, you. Ooh, he stank. Alright, y'all, let's get back into it.
Wilshire. And those are the two locations that the officer in charge requested to be placed on the map. And they wanted to show that this device was in the area of either of these locations and at what time.
Okay, and so can you tell us about the lines closer to the 9,000 Connor location and what ones those correspond to in your records up top there?
So this is an RTT report, or a time in advance report.
1028.
And the row number 1 and 2, which one is a dark blue line, and the other is a light blue line, all indicate approximately around the area of 9,000 Connor during the time of 2028.
So 1028, 1042, 1048, 1059, this nigga was near the shop. And we know at this time he's in the baby mama's car. Now this would be January 9th, and right now it's roughly around 1028. Okay, so based on the baby mama, she said that he came and picked up her car around 9 o'clock. Then he goes back to near the shop. Now, these lines indicate they can't tell exactly where he is. Now, we do know, you know what I mean, that there is a motel that's over there that sit right across the street from 9,000 Connors. And we know that he frequents there. And I believe it was the Park Crest. You know what I'm saying? That he also frequents. So we don't know where the fuck the nigga at, but we know he there. So this is the time that gets very critical. Okay? Because by now, something has happened. By now, something has happened. Damn. Oh, that is so earth-shattering to me.
In 2042, which is 8:28 p.m. and 8:42 p.m.
Okay. And so is it...
I'm sorry,
fair to say
8.
that
It's
phone
8.
was
This
in
would be
the area
8.
of
I'm
9,000
sorry.
Connor at those times on January 9th?
It's consistent with being around the area.
Okay. And then the other two, the purple and pink lines, can you tell us about those?
So there's a dark purple and a light purple, and that's around the area of 13362 Wilshire. And those are times of 2048 or 8:48 p.m. and then 2059 or 8:59 p.m. So the RTT
So I stand corrected.
has moved from around 9,000 Connor to 133.
This is still at 8 o'clock. So he's still around the shop. So this is at 8 something. So this means that Cardell them is probably breaking up the receipts and shit. I don't think he has not been to the baby mama house yet, according to her. You know what I'm saying? So my bad, I said 10 instead of 8.
362 Wilshire during that particular time.
And so, does that indicate that the phone was in traveling towards the direction of the Wilshire address?
It could have been.
Okay. And you said RTT. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
RTT is a real-time tool or time in advance. Basically, it's a report that T-Mobile will send out, and it's historical location information. It's not necessarily based off of any type of activity, so you're not going to have phone calls during this time. It's not going to be text messages, or as long as the phone is on and the cell tower basically, or the base is able to get in contact with the device and back. So basically it's a time that it takes for a base station to send out a signal and then have it received back from the device.
Is it fair to say that that's more of a passive interaction between the phone? There's no input on the phone that's required for this?
There's no input required at all. There's not, any type of cellular activity at that time. It's basically for, efficiency and performance by the network.
Going to exhibit 36 now, which is on the screen. On that first page, you have 8 lines. Can you tell us the reason you have 8 lines and what they're indicating?
Number 36 is a cause report and tower map of the date and time of January 9th from 22:53 or 10:53 p.m. to January 10th of 2024 at 1:11 a.m.
Okay. And so that's the time you're analyzing here is from closer to midnight on the 9th going into the next morning, early morning on the 10th, correct?
Yes.
All right, and going to the second page of this exhibit.
Now this is crucial timing because this is going to tell us if the baby mama account aligns with Jarvis's. Now they're saying that it's around midnight right now. You know what I'm saying? Of when they're getting this type of shit. It was showing that it was close to midnight. So it starts at the time of midnight on the 9th and it goes over to the 10th. Now we know the baby mama said that he came and borrowed the car again. So we're trying to see, I think that's the time when they planted the clothes. That's just my opinion. What I say ain't law, shawty. It ain't nothing fact about what I'm saying. It's just my opinion. So I just want you to know that. Let's keep going.
Can you tell us what we're looking at in this map on the second page of exhibit 36?
In this map, we're looking at rows 1, 2, and 3. So the red dot that you have right there smack dab in the middle indicates 2000 Harper, which is the Park Crest Motel. And the next slide has a different address associated with it. But what we're looking at right here is the 2000 Harper Park Crest Motel.
And is that in Harper Woods? If you don't.
That I don't know.
Oh. That highway that it's just off of, that's 94 highway, correct?
Yes.
Oh. And the 2 towers, or the 2 lines that you have here, does that indicate the phone was interacting with those towers at the times in rows 1, 2, and 3?
Yes. You see the dark blue tower on the south side facing north. That's the area coverage, and then you have the light towers, the light tower up top, the light blue, which is number 3, and that's facing downward, and they encompass the area. They overlap the area of the park.
This is a dirty dog. Dirty dog. At midnight, he was at the Park Crest. Now, we know he went with the BM because he had her car. We know he went with the fiance because she didn't testify she even seen him on the 9th. You feel me? And we know he went with Shannon. Well, we don't know if he was with Shannon's thick ass. But believe it or not, at 12 o'clock, he's at a hotel.
Okay. And the phone was interacting with both those towers at... Go up for a second. 12:37 in the morning On the 10th?
Between 10:53 and 12:37 a.m.
And then going to the third page of this map, what are we looking at here on the third page, and what rows do they correspond to?
This third page is going to have a purple dot that indicates 4 East Alexandrine, and that is another location that was significant for the officer in charge to place on the map.
And sorry, maybe I missed you saying this, what rows does it correspond to on this map?
And that corresponds with the purple row. So each color represents that was significant for East. This third page is going to have a purple dot that indicates 4 East Alexandrine, and that is another location that was significant for the officer in charge to place on the map.
And sorry, maybe I missed you saying this, what rows does it correspond to on this map?
And that corresponds with the purple row. So each color represents the call detail records, the color on the call detail record report. So that's going to be row number 8 at 1:11 a.m. on the 10th of January.
And this is all for that target number ending in 8917, correct?
8719.
8711, sorry, thanks. All for the same number.
Yeah, all of these reports are for the
Okay.
same number.
And does that indicate to you that the phone moved from that Park Crest location down to where this is on Alexandria?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last page of this exhibit, is this just an overview of both of those maps that we just looked at?
Yes, it is. So you'll see in the beginning, or I'm sorry, at the end of the 9th.
Now, you that the phone moved from that Park Crest location down to where this is on Alexandria?
Yes.
Okay. And then the last page of this exhibit, is this just an overview of both of those maps that we just looked at?
Yes, it is. So you'll see in the beginning, or I'm sorry, at the end of the 9th at around 10:53, it's up at the Park Crest Motel up there on the northeast side, and then it travels down at around 1:11 in the morning on the 10th down to the purple area.
And that's the Alexandria.
It is.
In the Alexandrine area, that will be close to the River Rouge area, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody Google it. But I think that would be near River Rouge area.
Going now to exhibit 37, which is on the screen. And do you have that there?
I do.
First, can you tell us again what we're looking at in the 3 rows on the first page of this exhibit?
So this is a time in advance report. You've got the row, the target, the day, and these are all in the color black and on the map for the second page. And basically it's showing on January 10th, 2024 from 22:51, which is 10:51 p.m. to 22:53 or 10:53 p.m.
So
on the
later,
10th.
later in the day on the 10th.
On the second day, yes.
Okay, and so we moved almost 24 hours, about 20 hours up from the last map, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if we could go to the second page. And where is this phone interacting with on, at the times that you just said, later in the day on the 10th?
It's more near the Bicentennial Towers? Okay.
It's right around Greenfield and 7 Mile.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay. At the times that you just...
I want to see the times. Hold on. So around this time right now, this is the 10th. Now, this would have been when he borrowed the car from the BM again. Because she said that he borrowed the car from her again. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And this is around, what did he say it was? Around 10:53. That's what he said. And now, this will put him dead smack on West 7 Mile.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if we could go to the second page. And where is this phone interacting with on, at the times that you just said, later in the day on the 10th?
The information received from the cell phone company is right around Greenfield and 7 Mile.
And is that in the city of Detroit, Wayne County?
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes.
Okay. And going now to Exhibit 38. We're looking at
Damn.
a lot more rows on Exhibit 38. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
Yes, this is the time period right after we were looking at 7 Mile and Greenfield. That time was all the way up until 22:53. So here we have from 23:40, which is 11:40 p.m., to 23:59 to 11:59 p.m., and this is all on the same night of the 10th.
Okay. And this is so just about 40 minutes after the previous map, correct?
Approximately.
Okay. And was there any information in the records, if you know, between those two times, that 40-minute gap there?
They gave us a time in advance records.
Okay. And going to the second page of this, on the map here, first, can you tell us what that red dot indicates on this map?
So that red dot indicates 7 Mile and Berg.
And
Yeah, hold on one second. Y'all don't talk shit. Now we know, I want to look at something real quick. Because it's something that just stood out to me. Let me go into this real quick. Hold on one second, y'all. Hold on, gang. Hold on. There's something that really just stood out. Where was the testimony of this?
What we're gonna talk about. That's what.
Hold on one second. Look at something real quick. Okay. So hold on.
You know what I'm saying? But
Bro, am I tripping? Hold on for a second. I know you can hear me. Just type in the comments. Si, is this the house where we was at? Where we did the drone and you almost fell? I don't know why I never paid attention to this gate. Hold on, y'all. I gotta go to Google Earth. I'm finna have to go to Google Earth. Hold on. I know the fuck you lying. Hold on one second. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I might have to switch to Google Earth real quick. But let me see something. So 7 Mile and Berg is here. Greater Grace there. River Rouge. So over here. So hold on, nigga. This is where they found. This is the gate. This is hold on, bro. This where we went. That gate on the other side is where them clothes was at. Yeah, I gotta go to Google Earth. Hold on one second, bro. I know the fuck you lying. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. Cause this is crazy. I want to go to. Cause this is crazy, dog. Why won't it let me pull up the? Hold on one second, y'all. I want to make it so y'all can see it, but this is crazy. No, come out of there. All right, here we go. I want to do 7 Mile. Bird. Yeah, Detroit. I want to go here. Okay. All right. Let's go down. See something real quick. Alright, that's the laundromat. Spin it, spin it. Okay, so that's that here. Oh, I want them to let me see it right here so bad. Let me see something real quick. Why won't it let me go up? Let me see. Y'all, that fence that I'm talking about, right here, that we just looked at on the video of mine, that fence sits right at this house. Now, the reason why I'm saying is really trippy is because we was over in this area looking a lot, right? But where the clothes was planted, I can easily see how it was planted. This is the place that kept spinning. Yes. But the thing about it is, all right, I don't know if you can see it real good. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. Hold on 1 second. So basically, man, hold on. I wish it would just let me get behind there like I want to, because right behind this house, that fence sits right there, where the clothes and stuff was at, and it was tripping me out. Here we go with this bullshit. Hold on. Let's see if I can get down up in there. Can I get up in there? Why do it always do that? All right, hold on. Let me get down in there. Bro, I want you to see it so bad because we was there. And what I'm just trying to say. So basically, where this nigga was at, it only makes what I'm saying a lot better. It's a plant. It's definitely a plant. We were also trying to figure out how his car would have had damage, right? Now, the only thing that I'm saying is that he could have definitely got damage. I promise you. He could definitely get damage if... Well, I want to let me see if I can come up. See if I can come up a little bit more. Hold on 1 second. Now, he can really get damaged because to get to that gate where the clothes was, it sits right here. I don't know. Can y'all see let me see if I can move my cursor. Can y'all see my cursor or the hand right here? It's like over here, right? Behind this house, it sits that fence. And the fence that I'm talking about, and I know this for a fact. Hold on. I know I'm not motherfucking tripping. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Hold on, give me 1 second. Yeah. All right, bet. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me go back over here. I just want to make sure I'm not fucking playing.
But to me,
all right. So where you see this fence, This right here is when you come right down from the driveway that I was showing you. We went over there with the drone, right? But I was under the impression that her clothes was planted somewhere else. It wasn't until we just started looking at this and I looked at the gate and I wanted to be able to look back at it. Now, right down here, it's a very steep driveway to where if somebody was driving a Nissan, that front end would have got fucked up coming back up and going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even fucking lying to you. Like, it's dead ass serious. But let me look at something else real quick. Because, shawty, it would have been easy for him to plant some clothes right there. Nigga, that shit's a plant. It's a plant so bad. Hold on. Bro, that shit's a plant so bad, bro. I can't even describe that shit. That shit is like 2 seconds from, like, it's not like it was deep off in the woods at all. It's not like that at all. Yeah, that motherfucker was planting clothes to get niggas away from 9,000 Connors. No cap. Hold on. Okay. Now, this is us when we went over there with the drone footage. Okay. Now, you can understand where I'm coming from. If you were to go, you could actually see the fence right here. You see the fence right there? You can actually see the fence down right there. When you go down, you will see what I'm talking about. This is where the clothes was right here, the drone. So when you go down that fence, the clothes was sitting on the other side of that fence. Now, I'm hoping that you guys can also see how steep this driveway is. So if somebody went down there to plant, coming back up or going down, he would have fucked up his front. He would have fucked up his front end. No bullshit. So what you seeing right here is definitely the fence that I'm talking about. On the other side of that fence is where the clothes were goddamn found. Now, this only says to me more to where the fucking clothes was a goddamn plant. Damn, I keep jumping off this shit. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, that shit, bro, that baby ain't nowhere near 7 Mile. Never been by 7 Mile, never was by 7 Mile. They put her by 7 Mile because she was somewhere near 9,000 Connors. That serious. That's just all that's gonna be. Now, I don't know what the fuck niggas is on. So basically, what I'm trying to explain to y'all is where these clothes was found. Bro, shut it. It's right by the driveway. And we always been trying to figure out how he fucked up his car. How he fucked up Shawty, how the car got fucked up. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, nope, that wouldn't even that wouldn't even make sense though. Or would it? The 10th, let me see what time, because would he had already had damage on the car already? Oh, that shit is crazy as hell to me. This shit be about to drive me berserk. But that's definitely at that house. That's on the other side. And I remember this brick here. I remember all types of shit. We was all deep off in these. We went farther in the woods. And as you can see, the shoe is right there. But that shit is like literally 2 gallops from the driveway, bro. Like, it's not like she was in the woods running and something. Nah, nigga. The shit was a plant. And I swear to God, I think that nigga fucked this car up being on that driveway. Dead serious. He fucked that car up because I'm telling you, that's exactly where that shit is at. Damn, that shit's crazy. That's exactly where that shit is at. And we went all around. We put the drone on every area that these people talked about on this damn thing. We did it. Damn, that shit's crazy as hell. But right here, where that white pole is, it's like it's a deep slant. So a car, like if you was smart, you wouldn't go down there. Now, you might have fucked up. You might have not have thought it was that steep in the dark, in the nighttime. But, boy, I tell you, that shit's fucking insane. It sits very low. But we went over there and we put we got drone footage over a lot of stuff. We went to a lot of places in Detroit. I just did not post it. Cause fuck all that. We wasn't worrying about posting it and things like that. We was out there looking shit in buildings and all types of shit. But yeah. But anyway, let me go back to the data. I got sidetracked. But nah, that's wild as fuck to me.
And in terms of the circles around that, what do those represent?
The time in advance distance from the cell tower. So that's all going to be around 7 Mile and Berg area.
And is it fair to say that this phone was interacting with those towers at the times you indicated around the 7 Mile and Berg area?
Yes.
And can you go back up to the first page? In row 1.
Yes, there would have been water there. You got to keep in mind when we went, it was a different climate. You know what I'm saying? But yes, it definitely would have been water there. River Rouge sits right behind that house. So where you see that house, River Rouge sits right behind there. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Let me just show you one thing. Okay, so just so you can kind of know a little bit, you see the way the arrow is right over here to this parking lot area. That's where the house is near, and so behind that house, River Rouge runs, and as you can see, this bridge and stuff like this, River Rouge will be up underneath this bridge, and it'll run like this. Now, in different times of the year, it'll be a little bit higher. You know what I'm saying? So when we went, it was a little bit lower. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But you got to understand, since then, 2 summers and shit done passed and things like that. But that's exactly where that shit is at. And that's crazy to me because we always was trying to figure out, like, pinpoint exactly where the clothes was. And it wasn't until I just looked at the fence to where I knew exactly where it was. When you look at that fence, everything is still the same. It's still the fucking same. You dig? It's crazy as hell. But let's keep going.
And what is the time there?
Row 1 is going to be on January 10th of 2024 at 23:40, which is 11:40 p.m.
And then the last row, what is the time on the last row?
January 10th of 2024 at 23:59. And that was just because the officer had asked for just that day. It actually indicates that it stays there for a little bit more in the morning.
Okay, how much more in the morning if you know?
We actually have it in the next exhibit.
Oh, perfect. And so that phone on this exhibit wasn't there from 11:40 to, at the very least, midnight almost on the 10th, correct?
The time advance records, yes.
And again, this is time in advance. This is the passive interaction, no input from the phone or the user, correct?
Yes, no calls, no texts, no nothing. This is just the signals that the base station is getting to the device.
And going to exhibit 39, and can you tell us what we're looking at on the first page of 39?
So this is going to be essentially a combination of the last 2 exhibits that we just saw. So this is going to be from January 10th of 2024 at 9:49 p.m. or 21:49 to January 11th of 2024, the next day, or the next morning at 1:34 a.m.
Okay. And going to the second page of this exhibit now. First, on the far left side of the screen, what area is that again that we're looking at?
On the far left of the screen is going to be the red dot indicating 7 Mile and Berg.
And that's the same area that we saw in the last exhibit in 38, right?
Yes.
And in terms of what rows correspond to that one, how long was that phone there in that area into the next morning on the 11th?
You have, let me see. Okay, so starting with row 1, it's down in the purple area, bottom right-hand screen. You see that The purple dot indicates for East Alexandria, which we looked at a map from earlier. And then it goes to it's actually still there around the area of Fort Alexandrine, which is the purple on line 2. Then you see it start to traveling up to number 3, which is in the light blue area, which is in the middle one, just above the dark red. And then you see it show to the dark blue after the light blue, which is going to be still traveling north. And then that 7 Mile in Greenfield, which is that blue dot, and then going over to the 7 Mile in Burke.
And the 7 Mile in Greenfield, we looked at that one, I believe it was exhibit 36.
Now, this is when I feel is like the plant was starting. Because 7 Mile in Greenfield, that would have been around or close to the 7 Mile in Evergreen area where the ID was found. And now we know for a fact, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, the old lady seen the ID at the bus stop. We all went through that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember that part, right? You know what I'm saying? So if you go to 7 Mile and Evergreen, that is where the baby's ID was found. So to me, for him to be near the Evergreen, to me, this is when he did a circle, you know what I'm saying, to do the clothes. You know what I mean? Threw the motherfucking ID out, threw the clothes out, whichever order he went in, but the motherfucker is definitely a plant. It's definitely a plant, and I think he was actually the one who was doing it. Straight up. That's fucking sad. Ugly ass man, you. I can't stand this nigga, bro. Ooh, I can't stand him. Now, the thing about it is, I'm almost thinking, and I said this before, I'm thinking that he had to plant the clothes first, because there wouldn't have been no way that he would have been able to throw the ID away from this side of the street. If the nigga came up this way, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, there's no way he would have been able to throw the ID away from the way the bus stop is. Now, this lady said she found the ID right here at this bus stop. You know what I mean? We know this. If you go to her testimony, that's the lady who kind of looked like the lady from Lean on Me. But she was the one who filed the ID. When she showed the ID, it looked like it had blood on the ID. I'm not even gonna lie. But she said that she walked from across and it was adjacent to this motherfucking bus stop. Now, the thing about it is, from where she found the ID, if he was coming up Evergreen, there would have been no way that he would have been able to throw that ID across the street at the bus stop where the lady found it. So, to me, he would have had to plant the clothes first and then come down this street. Because, see, he would have had to come down here. Now, you can cut from here, from getting from 7 Mile and Bird to here, coming the back way. Then it would have put him on this side of the street to throw the ID away. That's my theory. Now again, public service announcement. This is just my opinion. This is not law. This is just common goddamn sense. A flimsy ass ID, you're not throwing it out the window, and that motherfucker shit is just flying straight across to this thing. I'm thinking he was coming up this way, to throw the ID away. That would have put him on the side of the bus stop. That's just what I'm seeing. Now, y'all drop in the comments. Let me know what y'all thinking. But we actually went over this whole information like a year and a half ago.
And so where does the phone end up, and at what time is the last entry for the 7 Mile and Berg area?
So the 7 Mile and Berg area is at 13413, number 8. And then you see that big kind of curved line. That's actually going to be line number 9. And that's when the device is essentially, moving away from the location.
Okay. And so that phone then was there in that area of 7 Mile and Berg from about 1240 to 134?
1240,
Sorry, 1140.
11, yeah. Yes, 11:40 p.m. to around 1:34 a.m. on the 11th.
And on the 11th at 1:34 a.m. it starts to move away, which is row number 9 on your first page there.
Yes.
Oh.
The sickening part about this whole shit is while all of this was going on, this nigga ripping and running through the city of Detroit trying to get rid of evidence. Annette is in the bed with her moo and bonnet on, sleeping like a motherfucking baby, and gonna put off to where she gonna go and file a police report. While she's sleeping in her moo and shit, comfortable, warm, this baby, y'all call this fucking lady a grandma.
And you had mentioned
She ain't no
earlier
fucking
that
nana.
part of the search warrant return from T-Mobile includes subscriber information, correct?
Yes.
And did you get the subscriber information for this phone, target phone number that we've been talking about?
Yes.
And do you remember what the name associated with this account was?
One of the subscribers was showing information. The other subscriber had, it was spelled wrong. It's like Jaris.
And what was the last name?
Butts.
B-U-T-T-S?
I believe so.
May I have one moment, George?
Yes.
Somebody just said it in the comments. That's exactly why I think that she was involved. Because there would have been no reason to put off anything. You know what I'm saying? I think the reason why to put it off was to give people a head start. You know what I'm saying? And that's another reason why she went straight to the school before the police department. I don't think, she didn't give a fuck.
Can you go back to the exhibit that we were talking about for the Park Crest Motel?
Yes.
See you later, drinkable.
I
Yes.
believe that's exhibit 36, correct?
36, yes.
And what's the address for the Park Crest Motel that's listed on there?
20,000 Harper.
Okay. Maybe I misheard you. I thought you said 2,000 earlier. I just wanted to...
Oh, I apologize. It's 20,000.
20,000 Harper?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing further, Judge.
I have one question.
Vic, sometimes, Vic, for real, like, I don't even know why I look up and see you. You know what I mean? It'd be like I gotta land on your comment. Can you just...
That's on exhibit 38, the last, the one we said about the burning in the top left corner.
This one.
Well, I guess this one works.
This is 38.
This is 38?
Did you make 39?
Yes. 39. So there's an image of a house in the bottom right, in purple, you have blue is a car, the left, and the 7 mile bird is shoes. What does that indicate? Or footprints?
I believe there was possibly some evidence there. That's
Okay, I
why
didn't know what the different images, if it was significant.
there.
And the 7 mile bird is shoes. What does that indicate? Or footprints?
I believe there was possibly some evidence there. That's
Okay, I
why.
didn't know what the different images, if it was significant.
No.
Thank you. I don't know if you have questions based off of what I asked.
No, I don't. Unless, may I have one more? Nothing further.
Okay, cross.
Good morning, Sergeant O'Rourke.
Good morning.
Oh, shit, it
You're
is.
an expert. I'm not. So I just want to go through some things, okay?
Okay.
So, the cell phone data you have, you called it historical data, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 3 ways that you can find phone location, correct?
There's a lot of different ways you can find phone location.
Sure, fair enough. But 3 primary GPS information from the phone, right? You can
He makes my ass itch. Oh, itch.
The phone has a GPS and you can get GPS information from the phone.
That's not what we deal with.
Right, but I'm just saying that is a way of
That could be
locating
a
the
way.
phone. And you can triangulate the phone call, correct?
We don't do triangulation, so the mapping that you're looking is not triangulation.
So what you're doing is what's called cell site location information?
No, we're doing, the calls report, they actually give you a physical lat and long for the tower. They also give you the azimuth, which is the central location of the area coverage.
It's called
So we're
CDR.
actually putting all the information that they give to us and putting it on a map.
Right, it's called a CDR, correct?
Call detail records.
Call
yes.
detail record, okay. So the call detail record is basically a bunch of numbers that tell you this phone is communicating with a tower in a certain area, correct?
Yes,
And from that, you come up with the cell site location information, correct?
no, they give you the cell site location information. That's the lat and long of the cell tower. They give you.
Yeah, I wish Milk Dud, Tommy Stronghead, that nigga. Man, this man get on my nerves so bad. I ain't never got so aggravated. Stank suit, you know what I mean? Funky beard. I just wish he would shut up. You know what I mean? Because all he doing is inciting the witnesses.
Nah.
The judge shouldn't allow
The
this.
cell phone company, that's the call detail records.
Okay. And I think you mentioned this is all historical information.
Yes.
And it's an interpretation, so it's not 100% accurate, correct?
When you say 100% accurate, the cell towers are the lat and long. There's no interpretation there. If you're talking about the intended area coverage,
Right.
okay, the intended area coverage, they give you an azimuth, okay, and then that intended area coverage is generally around 66 or so degrees area coverage.
Okay. So the cell phone, the information you get is the phone connecting with a tower, sending information that tells you this is the location of the phone.
For call detail records, they give you the tower, lat and long, the actual address of the tower. They also supply the intended area coverage, which is the beam width of how far or how big the intended area coverage is, along with the azimuth, which is why we do it in the shape of a V. So they're giving you the V-shaped and the azimuth, that smack dab in the middle. So they're telling us that's the intended area coverage.
That
He don't know what the asthma is. He don't know shit. That's why he over there trying to confuse you.
is the intended area.
Yes.
Okay.
He still don't know nothing. Funky man.
And Sergeant, it's true that the cell phone is going to get a signal from the tower that it gets the strongest signal from, right?
Generally speaking, yes.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's the closest, correct?
No, it doesn't have to be the closest.
Okay, and there are factors that will affect which tower or what sends out the strongest signal, correct?
Yes, there could be factors.
Okay. Things like the distance from the tower, obviously. The height of the tower, would that affect it?
What normally affect, I mean, it could, but what normally is going to affect anything regarding, connection to a tower has to be weather, tall buildings, if you have a huge event where there's a ton of people trying to get on it, like, Ford Field or Comerica. Those are the types of things that can determine where the strongest tower is going to be. However, here in the Metro Detroit area, it's still going to be approximately a mile because we have so many towers that they can connect to. So you're not going to get one, that's 20 miles away. It's still going to be within a mile radius.
Okay. And I think you've already answered that. Now, isn't it also true that the tower isn't actually owned by the cell phone company? Generally?
So they can lease it out, but you have the person that actually.
Nigga, listen. We don't give a fuck who owns the cell phone company. Did this phone ping over it? You feel what I mean? Period. That's all that matters. Who owns the motherfucker don't matter. You think T-Mobile gonna take up for this nigga? Or some shit? I don't understand this line of questioning. It's pissing me off. What I'm trying to figure out is how long this nigga was at a certain address. All of this other shit don't even matter. Asking all of this shit. You know what I mean? About who owned the tower. It don't matter who owned the tower. The motherfucker was in good standings when his phone pinged it. So as long as whoever owned the tower was paying for the tower, for us to get the airways that we need for this trial, it's all that matters. Shit, fuck you mean?
Your information is from T-Mobile, correct?
Yes.
And from that very same tower, let's say AT&T could have phone calls coming in, correct?
Possible.
So there's no way to tell how many phone calls AT&T it has from the closest tower, correct? At the same time as T-Mobile.
They're not going to be on the same network.
They're not going to be in the same, but
No,
they're
so
using
you
the
have
same
the-
tower.
You have the cellular network, but you have AT&T that is going to utilize some towers. You have T-Mobile that's going to utilize some. You have Verizon that's going to utilize some. Some lease them out to other people, but you're not going to. I don't know exactly what it is that you're asking.
No, nobody knows what he's asking, ma'am. You know what I mean? Nobody knows what he's asking. You did? He don't know shit. Nothing. He's just wasting the court's times and people's monies and stuff like that. Look, it's this simple. Some providers is gonna buy towers to be able to have coverage on. Some motherfuckers ain't buy a lot of towers because they ain't got a lot of money. Cricket, gonna hear crickets. It's that simple. You feel me? Verizon, you might hear some shit, but it might take 5 days for them to restore and reset. You did? T-Mobile gonna be all around this bitch. I just don't understand why this matters. You know what I'm saying, to the case.
So you're saying that it doesn't
fuck?
matter how many users are utilizing the tower, it just matters whether or not they're on the same bandwidth?
You have a SIM card that goes into each and every single phone, and that's on their network. So you're not going to get onto an AT&T network from a T-Mobile phone.
Nigga thought he was about to
or vice
eat with
versa.
this
That's
type
how
of
they
line
do
of
billing.
question.
That's how they, ensure that they have all the information that you receive is accurate. You're not going to have an AT&T phone,
That's not my question. My question is, can a single tower be utilized by multiple companies at the same time?
It could.
Yes.
Would that weaken that signal, the capacity of that tower?
I'm not an engineer. I don't know how big this tower is, any specific tower. That's something you would have to ask the cell phone company.
Okay. And it's also true that a cell phone can attach to a tower up to 20 miles away, correct?
So it could in, let's just say, Alaska or, rural areas in Colorado in the mountains where you don't have that many people. And so they have bigger towers that, go further distances because they're not servicing as many people as you would, let's say, in Detroit. In Detroit, we have so many towers here that they're not going to utilize something that's 20 miles away and skip over, the hundreds of towers that you have right here. That's not going to, I'm not going to say never, but that doesn't generally happen here in Detroit. I haven't seen one at least.
Okay.
I mean, that's common sense. That's like you in your car. You gotta pee. You feel me? Your auntie stay right here. Your uncle stay right here. But you choose to go to grandma's house. That stay past all of them. You ain't gonna do that. It's the same shit. This is debauchery. The judge should be able to object with this type of shit. It ain't even making no sense. It's not even relevant to this case.
And there's generally overlap, and I think even one of the slides you had, there's overlap in these towers, correct?
When you say overlap,
Meaning that a single area can be covered by multiple towers.
that's generally how it is. You have one tower. I mean, even in the ones that we were looking at, you have one tower with multiple cells on there. So this is for a T-Mobile or any company to make sure that they have coverage that you don't lose your service. You could have one cell facing this way, then here, then here, then here, then here. They're all going to overlap to ensure that the person has coverage, that they don't drop their service.
Bless her heart.
So yes, you've had overlapping.
So basically, the data you said that you use a program called Pinlink. What is
Facts, Icy 27. The nigga trying to discredit the cell towers. That's exactly what the fuck he trying to do and shit. Ma'am, listen to me. You know what I mean? There is one tower and 5 providers. So you mean to tell me that T-Mobile signal is not weaker when everybody's calling on the same Nigga, if you don't sit down, milk dud.
Exactly, as PinLink.
PenLink is a program that we're able to receive the call detail records, input it, and basically it just puts it in a readable format. So, for example, all of the calls reports that you see come in Universal Time Coordinated, or UTC time. PenLink will make the time adjustments so that we'll have it in Eastern Standard Time versus having everything that you see and you have to do it in your head, -4 on each, or -5 on each of these lines.
So all PinLink does is convert the time. It doesn't.
It does a whole bunch of other stuff too. We can do many different reports. You can do a call frequency report, see how many times that a specific calls report, called a specific person. There's a lot of different things that you can do. We can do tower dumps on them. There's multiple things that PenLink can do, but basically they're able to give us reports in a readable format that you would be able to understand versus looking at just raw records.
Okay. So you get raw records from the phone company, correct?
Yes.
Do you know if there's any error in the records that you get or in the data that you receive from the company?
Do I know if there's any errors
Right.
in the raw records?
Right.
I would have nothing to compare it to. That's the information that they give us.
Okay. So you don't know if the information that you receive is 100% accurate,
Well, that
correct?
information is certified by the cell phone company.
So we're in the Detroit area, and this is just hypothetical. We're in the Detroit area, right? We're across the border from Canada, correct?
Yes.
Have you ever gotten a message from Detroit that says you are roaming in Canada?
Yes.
But you're not in Canada, right?
Correct.
So that would be an error, right?
Yes.
So the cell phone can make an error, right?
That's not an error. They ask you if you want to utilize those towers, and they charge you for it. You either say yes or no, and if you connect to them, you're being charged for that.
Yo, and the reason why it's hilarious to me is because I'm down at the Riverwalk. That's what it's called. Down outside of Detroit. We're looking at it be set up. When you get near a certain area, we'll ask you if you want to connect to a tower. But he's dumb right now because that's what it's going to ask you if you just want to connect to the tower. I just cannot, man. I cannot. I just cannot even get great. It's crazy as hell.
And they notify you in call detail records when you're out of utilizing international, or Canadian towers.
Okay.
The thing that's hilarious about this shit is because he spent 30 minutes in Cross
You also mentioned
talking about
that
towers.
there were multiple subscribers on this phone.
Yes.
So there was more than one phone?
No. So you had the information from, I believe it was Sprint, who merged with T-Mobile.
Okay.
So now it's T-Mobile. But we received, I believe it was the Sprint subscriber information and the T-Mobile subscriber information.
Okay. So there's not. So when you said multiple subscribers, you did not mean multiple phones.
Multiple subscriber reports. There's not multiple phones. It's just one phone.
Okay. And then of course, you obviously can't say who was using the phone or who was with the phone at the time this phone
No.
was being tracked. Correct. Yeah.
Very briefly, Josh, thank you. Mr. Reagan's asked you about the timing. And you mentioned UTC time. Just to be clear, all of the times that we looked at in the exhibits are in Eastern Standard Time, so local time.
Yes.
Okay. And you mentioned something earlier, azimuth.
Yes.
First, can you spell that?
AZMIUTH.
Okay. And what is that?
It's just the center of the width of the. Basically, it's gonna be the.
It's common sense. Your ass sit in the center of your body. The azimuth is in the center of the V. I mean, you just gotta sometimes put shit to shit. You know what I mean? Azimuth. You know what I mean?
Center of the width of the triangle.
Or the V shape?
Yes, the V shape.
Right. And that has to be
Still
the
don't.
intended area.
I can teach
Correct.
this shit.
Okay. And you said that when Mr. Riggins asked you about connecting to a tower 20 miles away, you remember that question?
Yes.
You said you had never seen that in Detroit, correct?
Not in Detroit.
How many times have you done this analysis? How many times have you put these maps together for different cases?
Since 2016.
And is that like in the thousands then, or less than that?
Oh yes.
Okay. More than 1,000?
Oh yes.
Okay. And that's all been for the Detroit area or Metro Detroit area?
Yes.
For the most part?
The Metro Detroit area. Yes.
And Sergeant, does the subscriber information that is received have a physical address associated with it?
That I don't know. You would have to actually look at the subscriber information.
Okay, with that refreshing memory as
Yes.
this case, may I approach Judge?
Yes.
I'm approaching with the subscriber information. If you can just take that.
Aisha Nicolette, me neither.
Does
Boy, I
that
would have been out the
refresh
court.
memory as to whether a physical
They would have
address
set me
was
outside the
associated with
courthouse.
this- with these CDs?
I ain't built for this type of shit.
Yes.
And what was that address associated with the target phone in this case?
13362 Wilshire Drive.
Thank you. I have another question.
Thank you, Reverend. Just about it.
All right, now there you have it. And then we'll get into the last things. We'll get into. There was someone sent me a video of a medium, or whatever that they wanted me to review. And I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. Okay. We do have our Thursday, but I'm going to get up a little early. You know what I'm saying? Since I do not have breakfast and bud, and we're going to knock that out because it's a 3-parter. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I usually stray away from certain things. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna give it a shot. And if it's something I don't feel comfortable with, y'all know me, I will get the fuck on. You feel me? Like that serious. But at this point, I'm willing to hear anything. So I know a lot of people was sending me the things for it, and I was trying to get to it earlier today, but you know I'm gearing up for Bella's birthday as well, so we're gonna definitely make sure that we uncover it tomorrow. Okay.